Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor and I'm drinking some bottled water. I have had this day has gone by really slow. I'm behind. So let's get to this. Check this out about the Bitcoin ETF.
Crypto investors waiting with bated breath for approval of a Bitcoin ETF. Will it happen? And perhaps will it happen as soon as this week? Kate Rooney, that's the question.
Hey, David. Yeah, that is the question. A Bitcoin ETF, it's now widely expected to get the green light this week. Two sources close to the process now telling me it's looking like Wednesday, which is also the deadline for Cathie Wood's ARK and 21 shares bid. Then I'm told potential trading would happen Thursday or Friday, but it has been a moving target here on dates. The SEC is expected to approve a handful of applications at once. Those sponsors filing even more paperwork this morning, where we are starting to get a sense of this price war emerging. There are 13 applications out there with different fees. Some are starting at 0 and then rising once the fund hits a certain size. So BlackRock, for example, plans to start at 0.2% and then go to 0.3%. Fidelity at 0.39%. Grayscale looking like the highest here, 1.5%. This one's worth watching, guys. It's looking to convert an already publicly traded Bitcoin trust, GBTC, into an ETF, so known as an uplist. With $27 billion roughly under management, GBTC would become one of the largest commodity-based ETFs if it is approved. The fund used to trade at a steep premium to Bitcoin, but then you've seen it switch, and it's been trading at a pretty steep discount in the past year or so, as much as 45% last year. That has narrowed to about 5%. So if that fund converts into an ETF, the discount essentially disappears overnight, starts trading at the price of Bitcoin. Some are taking that as an arbitrage trade, an opportunity there. Crypto prices have shot up in anticipation of this approval. Some are cautious, though, including Cathie Wood, who's among those taking profits, at least when it comes to Coinbase, ahead of any news here.
Okay, so they're saying Bitcoin ETF by Wednesday. Trading should begin by Thursday or Friday is what they're saying. Here's Cathie Wood from ARK. What's their company called? ARK, whatever.
Let's assume the SEC approves your application. What kind of impact would a Bitcoin ETF have? I mean, we've all noticed this run-up in Bitcoin ever since BlackRock announced their interest from 30,000 to over 40,000. All of this is in anticipation of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Could this be a sell on the news event? What happens from here? Let's assume this is approved.
Sure. I think so many people are expecting now a sell on the news that we might not have a sell on the news because, once you hear that enough, their positioning's already taking place. So who knows? It's a very short term. All we know is with our 5-year investment time horizon, we think the flows into this new asset class, especially institutional flows, but also retail flows. Retail has led the charge, of course, that they're going to be quite substantial. And it won't take much of an allocation by institutions into Bitcoin to drive what is becoming a scarce asset much higher.
You recently reportedly sold Coinbase stock. This is usually considered a proxy for Bitcoin. So what are your thoughts on Bitcoin now? What kind of, flesh out your ideas a little bit for us.
On Coinbase, it was up 400% last year, and we do.
Okay, we'll stop there on that. There's plenty to show you. Van Eck bought $72.5 million of Bitcoin to seed their Bitcoin ETF. Then we have this. This is a great reminder from Cowboy Crypto, who is the official cowboy of the Digital Asset Investor channel, by the way. DOJ confirms today that this is what I think this Bitcoin ETF's about, folks. I think that the government is consolidating their ownership, because when you think about BlackRock is the government. All these companies, think about it, from Mt. Gox to all then you got MicroStrategy, which that's always seemed a little weird to me. you've got a very consolidated amount of Bitcoin that's owned by a very small group of people. The same people, same government that's been carrying the Bitcoin, Ethereum narrative all these years. I believe that this is the ultimate form of control. He says DOJ confirms they have 120,000 Bitcoin at a basis of $71 million, now worth $5.4 billion. Remember, when Cathie Wood was told to shut down Bitcoin while she was at the DOJ.
Kate, I'd like to start with you, actually. Right. You used to work at the DOJ. You were telling me backstage that at one point you were told to go shut down Bitcoin. Now you're lecturing about regulatory. Kate, I'd like to start with you.
That's one of the shadiest women in crypto right there. She's a multi-millionaire from government employee to multi-millionaire with mansions. Just happened to be close to Andreessen Horowitz. Check this out. XRP Ledger has surpassed 5 million active accounts. Here it is from XRP Scan. I would account for many of those, well, not many, but more than a handful. Over time, we had if you remember, we had there's always been there was that 20 XRP reserves. So I think a lot of us have ended up with a lot of different wallets over time, just because of the way it was designed. Standard Chartered just put out a note saying that we could see 50 to 100 billion of spot Bitcoin ETF inflows in 2024 and Bitcoin price of $200,000 by the end of 2025. This is a big traditional bank, folks. The whole world is about to wake up. I do think it's going to be big. This morning was wild for Bitcoin ETF followers. Check this out. I can't get over how concerned all these Bitcoin people are over fees. They've never cared about fees. The fees associated with Bitcoin are a joke compared to other digital assets. Why have they never cared about those fees? But they sure are concerned about ETF fees. Here's all of the different fees associated. The lowest one I saw on here was 0.24, which would be the Bitwise. And then Van Eck was in second at 0.25. Now, I think I saw something somewhere that they were saying BlackRock wavered to 0.2. So BlackRock could come in at the lowest. We shall see. And then we saw our old buddy Jay Clayton show up with CNBC this morning.
Bitcoin, is the SEC going to sign off on a Bitcoin ETF, you think?
I think approval's inevitable. And
imminently?
I think there's nothing left to decide.
I know.
And I credit the SEC for where they are. Where are we? We're comfortable with the disclosure. Joe just went through the cost of investing in a Bitcoin ETF. People need to know what the cost of doing it is. They need to know, about the underlying Bitcoin market. Is the Bitcoin underlying trading market something that is what I would say is robust enough, efficacious enough, where you can rely on it? It is much better today than it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, there was wash sales, there was laddering, there was all sorts of things that you wouldn't want to make available to the general public because of that risk. And the last thing, and I think this is missed, is the technology to actually provide the product, the custodying, the create, the redeem. This is a big step, not just for Bitcoin, but for finance generally. If you can digitize, tokenize underlying assets and trade that way, that's a potential significant change across finance, not just in the crypto space.
But you think Bitcoin ETF approval is coming and imminent?
Yeah, well? I do. Yeah. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Your opinion matters, former SEC chairman.
Well, you didn't do crap to get a Bitcoin ETF done yourself, by the way. Let's not forget that.
I don't like what's happened. And then when you abuse DEI, then you set back the movement. And we're still nowhere where we need to be. S&P CEOs, board members, and people of color that represent. We've got miles to go. But this casts a pall the way that it was administered.
I don't even know what he's talking about. Then, of course, right in the midst of all this, Gary cannot stop himself. He has to come out and try to throw shade and throw rain on the parade, because that's what he loves to do. So he came to warn everybody about all the risks associated with crypto assets, as if we're all a bunch of mind-numbed robots that don't know anything. But everybody needs Gary to explain to them that things are risky, of course, right? So here he is. I'm not even going to waste any time on his thread, but I am going to tell you this. You know that island guy, they just did another drop, and it includes photos and other things I can't show you out here, things I wouldn't show you out here. I can't even say words. And also, but anyway, in daixrp.com, we're going to talk about that stuff. But let me tell you what else we're going to do. One of the most common things that when I go to conferences and stuff, one of the most common things I get is, what are those sounds that you're making when you're doing your channel? Well, you mean like this sound? This right here is a sound, and I'm going to reveal. The curiosity killed the cat, right? I'm going to tell you what this is, this sound I'm making right here, when we go into daixrp.com. Everybody else has to guess. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that if you're in the group, you get to find out what this is right here. All right.